Hey, you guys, part two of Let Your Spirit Guide Speak. Love this book. I am literally only in the intro still. Because, sometimes you get a book and you're like, you just have to read a page and that's like enough. So, I don't know like how I'm going to do this going forward, but I'm just going to do what inspires me. Like, I don't think I'll read the entire thing to you, but I do like this page as a conversation. So I am in the intro page with the Roman numeral 11. The X and an I think that's 11, right? X is 10, and then the I is 1. Okay, so many years ago, author Gary Zukov, who I believe wrote Seed of the Soul and maybe some other books, appeared on Oprah discussing soul growth. When they opened up the discussion to questions from the audience, a woman asked if she should start her own jewelry business. Why, he said, are you asking me? His response woke me up to a major problem in my life, which I believe is a major problem in all of our lives. We keep looking to other people for answers, which may give us a quick fix, but eventually leaves us disappointed, frustrated, and seeking once again. Our politicians don't have our answers, nor do our religious leaders, our teachers, our coaches, or our counselors, or people on YouTube. The best they can do, just like the rest of us, is advise and counsel based on what they have learned and believe. This can be useful, but it's always limited by our own experience and often shadowed by fear. So if that's the problem, what's the solution? Turning inward and asking for the guidance that's designed specifically for you. This is the point where your ego will flare up and say, uh-oh, not going there. Let's go get a hot fudge sundae. It does this because its entire identity depends on fear. So your ego's entire identity depends on fear, which is why, in the words of A Course in Miracles, it's another book, and I'll show you a couple books, other books I bought when we're done with this. Which is why, in the words of A Course in Miracles, it keeps seeking and not finding. So if you keep looking for answers outside of yourself, how I'm reading that, is that you keep seeking and not finding when you're looking for answers outside yourself. When we look for answers within ourselves, we are seeking and finding. Outside of ourselves, seeking and not finding. So that's no fun, right? I think we've been doing that for a long time. It keeps not finding success, love, joy, growth, well-being, peace of mind, or at least not for very long. And then it turns to another outside expert for a roadmap instead of looking to the only voice that can help without bias or limitations. Spirit, inner guidance, God, your personal GPS. Doesn't that feel so empowering? It feels so empowering to me. Now, believe me, I know that going within can seem frightening at first. For instance, what if you're having marital problems and you're afraid your guides will tell you that it's all your fault? What if your child is dealing with addiction and you blame yourself as a parent? What if you're on the edge financially and your guidance tells you that you'll never get out of the hole you're in? These are ego questions designed to keep you from introducing yourself to your spiritual guidance. So I think what we're going to try to do here, and I think she's going to teach us, is how do we separate the ego questions versus our spiritual guidance? So she says, how do I know? Because they're all based on fear and judgment. And the one thing your guides will never do is judge you, ever. I love that. I love that. So my goal right now, and anyone who's joining me here, maybe, you'll have to put in the comments what your goal is. My goal is that my spirit guides, my guardian angels, become my best friend. They are my best friend going from my life right now on. Now, I have best earthly friends, and I'm not going to dismiss them, but they are going to be my primary first. And it's interesting because when my mom died, like the cord was like dramatically cut, and it was very, very painful. Not everybody, like when my dad passes, I'm not going to feel the same way. I'm just not, and when she died, it was like that. And so I actually felt like my one partner that I could trust completely, which was not actually true. I mean, she had her conditions too, because she has ego and she, was a human being. But we now have partners. We've always had partners that are truly unconditional. And so they need to be our best friends, like absolutely best friends. Because who doesn't want an unconditional best friend? You know what I mean? But it's impossible to find that in humans because we can't, like, I'm never going to be unconditional. We all have conditions because of the ego, which is based in fear. And we're never going to get rid of our egos. Like, they're there. And they're there for a reason. They're there to signal danger and all that kind of stuff. They need to be there. So we need to stop poo-pooing our egos too. Okay. They will honor, meaning your spirit guides, every decision you've ever made for the growth and courage it required. I love that. They will honor every decision you've ever made for the growth and courage it required. So when you feel shame, go back to that sentence. That is on page 1013. It's the intro still. When you feel shame, that would be a beautiful sentence to always have written down. They will honor every decision you've ever made by the growth and courage it required. And then they'll help you make decisions that serve you better and more effortlessly, love that word, from that point on. Okay, so let's just say you made a bad decision and you kind of regret it. They will help you make decisions that serve you better and more effortlessly so that you don't have to regret the decisions you're making from that point on. Not just once in a while, but day after day. Every time you show up, they'll be there, ready to solve the one problem of looking for external answers and not finding them once and for all. Because that one problem comes from the core belief that we're somehow separate from a higher power. And the one solution is to remember that we can never be separate from that power. How better to learn that, to be reminded every single day, than to communicate directly with Spirit, feeling the comforting embrace and gentle guidance of those who know you best. They know us best. They know us best. They know us better than our human cells know us, I mean, it's just beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to try to make these under like 20 minutes. So I'll just keep reading until... Whenever I sit down and start a conversation with my guides, they answer me by saying, "We are here with you always." It's their signature. And then the conversation begins. Some days the information seems mundane. Other days they open up a new path in my thinking that I didn't know existed. But always they remind me that I'm more than my body, my address, my work, my marriage, and my lemon bars. She mentioned, if you were for part one, she mentioned the lemon bars. I love lemon bars. I love them so much. Let Your Spirit Guide Speak, this book, is a book about what it means to live a life that's divinely guided by direct experience with Spirit. In this book, I'll share what I've learned about developing a collaborative relationship with guidance and the practical steps you can take to deepen your connection into a conscious, co-creative conversation. And this is really guiding my channel. Because now I've changed. This is intuitively, this is where I wanted my channel to go. And then I found this book, of course. So I changed it to like looking for the answers within, basically, and developing partnership with your spirit guide. So that's kind of the focus of where I'm going to try to keep my messaging around when I do angel card readings and clearings and that kind of thing. Throughout this book, I'm going to use the words God, Holy Spirit, spiritual guides, angels, and other terms liberally. If any of them gets in your way, please feel free to replace them with words that make sense to you. I'm writing this for my own life and with the generous sharing of experience with other people I know. I'm not writing it out of a particular theology. Your relationship with spirit is personal, founded on your own beliefs and background. You may discover specific entities on your team, or you may find that your guidance arrives as a less defined energy or knowing. What matters is the message, comfort, and knowledge you receive. So what I was getting there is you may not develop that like, oh, I can actually hear them talking to me. Or you may not be able, you may not get the rods to move for answers like I do. And so what they're saying is you may discover specific entities, which means like you really like you're hearing stuff or you're understanding things very clearly, or you may find that your guidance arrives as a less defined energy or knowing. What matters is the message, comfort, and knowledge you receive. Because I don't want people to get frustrated when they, if they bought rods and they're not moving for them, no matter how you try. That doesn't mean they're not there, And so we just have to be careful about that. You may find your relationship with spirit entering into a whole new realm, beyond individual desire, beyond asking for forgiveness or grace, beyond being imprisoned by fear. This relationship does, in fact, take us even beyond prayer itself to a new conversation that is as real as the one you and I are having right now. I love that. That's because, and if we do this, you always have support, always. You will never be alone if we learn how to do this. You'll never be alone. So we've all felt alone in life from time to time. People don't understand us. We feel alone. Some people are alone, like literally alone. I had a colleague once who had no immediate family at all. And actually no cousins, nothing. She was like alone. I'm like, dang, but she's not alone, That's why I'm also including messages just the way they showed up for me in writing this book. Early in the process, I sat at the computer with my hands on the keyboard. See, this is cool. And my eyes closed, as I often do, waiting for direction. One particular day, I saw the face of a woman I hadn't met, although she was entirely familiar. I realized that she could be the composite of 100 women I know, wise, intelligent, gentle, and compassionate, yet with a glint of mischievousness. When I asked who she was, I heard, "She's your writing guide. She will help you expressly in writing and completing this book." Oh, I love that. So like if you sat down and you're like, oh, I don't know how to paint or whatever, if you sat down just to be creative and just like moved paint on you could like literally, you could develop a relationship and just say, I would like to develop a relationship with you so you can be my creative guide, or you can be my, guide me in my creativity, or guide me in my painting or whatever, I really love that. She's your writing guide. She will help you express in writing and complete this book. Aha, my writing buddy. A guide who knows exactly what this book needs to include and how to present it. I call her Ella, and ever since I met her, I've started each period of writing with a short chat with her. My hands posed over the keyboard. Typically, those chats have led directly into the topic for the day, most of which have taken me by complete surprise. You'll find her messages in a different font introduced by the leaf image throughout this book. I've chosen not to paraphrase them, but to present them in their entirety because they carry an energy and clarity that would be lost if I tried to restate them. Plus, and I think, the message there is not that she's doing it that way. The message is you can do it that way. That you can pull out basically like, you're going to get the messages and you don't have to paraphrase them for yourself. I guess I lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, because the words that she's receiving carry energy and clarity. That's where I was going with that. So that the words you receive when you hear them carry energy and clarity. Okay, so plus they'll show you the kinds of messages that are available to you and your partner when you partner with spirit in your own unique way. I think that's amazing. And you know what? It just occurred to me. So any project you have, you can tap in and say, I need a writing buddy. I feel like this channel has developed in such a wild way because it's been so like big, like it's moved very quickly. But every day, I think it's done that because every day I wake up and I talk about what's just like, they are literally partnering with me to create this channel, which is why I just did an intro video, and I'm going to show you a couple books real quick and then we'll skedaddle for the day. I just did a intro to this channel, and it was about empowerment, but it was about how it's really, really important if this channel is going to exist, that I'm empowered, that I talk about what I want to talk about, the way I want to talk about it, the setup I want to talk about it in, because if I don't do that, then the words that I'm getting, the energy is gone. Like if I start meeting the needs of everybody who leaves comments, the suggestions are great and stuff, like, can you talk about this topic? And I will if I'm called to do that, because if I try to talk about something that's not in my heart, I just can't, the energy is not going to be there, right? Which is exactly what she was saying. So if you try to paraphrase things in your life, it's not going to carry the same energy and clarity. So that's a really good message for me for this channel. And I'm using that as an example for anything that you're doing, that follow your inner guidance and be really careful when other people's inner guidance is trying to frame what you're doing, because that's what happens our whole lives is we allow their answers and their guidance to bring the energy into our clarity and our guidance. And it gets murky, doesn't it? It gets really murky. And so when I hear people now, I think this is getting very clear for people right now after the election. And I'm hearing more and more people like, I'm standing my ground, I'm feeling stronger. And I think that's what it is. I think we're finally stopping to look like I'm not sure I want to look for answers to the government anymore, any side, because I'm quite irritated about how this whole thing happened in the first place. And I think that's the point, is we got to stop looking for answers from them even, I mean, I know there's practical things, but then the ego says, well, what about this? What about that? I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to follow my inner guidance, Okay, so A Course in Miracles real quick. So if you don't know about Alan Cohen and you want a real chill, relaxing message for the day, check out his YouTube channel. He's so chill. And he's really downloading some great information, and it's very practical and easy. I don't do well with highfalutin sort of like language. Because I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. If it's too specific, like I'm a big picture person. So, but this is A Course in Miracles, and the regular, if you haven't heard of The Course in Miracles, it's a huge book, I think, but he has made it easy basically. And so I just got this book, so I'm excited about that. I got this book. She's a channeler, Sarah Landon, and she's on YouTube. And I really like the channel message that comes through. So this is her book. So I just bought this. I will link these in the description. If you click on my links, and if you're going to buy them on Amazon, if you do that, then my channel will get a small affiliate fee for that. And it just helps support the channel. But, go where you want to buy stuff, obviously. You are a channel. Receive guidance from higher realms, ascended masters, star families, and more. And then I bought the Akashic Records because I'm very interested in learning about this. I've had some people, and I want people, if you have like knowledge about any of these topics, or like you're like deep knowledge, and you feel, it's something you might be interested in sharing with the community, then let me know. Because I think somebody wrote a comment, my sister has it down, that someone has a lot of knowledge about the Akashic Records. And so we might have somebody come into the community and talk about that. And then I bought this one. I didn't even read it, but I liked the title, The Life-Changing Power of Intuition. So these are the books where I'm at right now. Don't you love going to a bookstore and you're like, oh, I didn't even know these existed? You get the one that totally calls to you, So anyways, one step at a time. I mean, I barely can get through a couple pages a day in this one. So these are going to, I'll probably just pick up. Do you ever go like this and just pick up a book and be like, okay, this is the page I need to read today? I love that too. So I don't know how I'll get from front to back on these, but we'll see. All right. Well, I will see you in part 3 of developing partnership and relationship with our spirit guides. I hope this is helpful. It's helping me a tremendous amount. And maybe at some point I'll go live and we'll have a book club together. Let me know in the comments if that would be helpful for you, if you'd like to go live sometime so that you guys can chat. We can, you can put stuff in the chat and I can kind of talk about it. So, all right. We can even go on Zoom maybe someday and have, everybody can have their pictures up and we can I don't know how that, I've seen people do it. Might be a little complicated, but anyways, we'll see how it unfolds. All right. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.